So I guess we start where we always do with the ups and downs. What are you thinking was a positive for the Canucks in that first first period?
For the most part, looks more like last year, where we focused first on defense and we capitalized offensively when there were mistakes made by the other team. So it looks like we're playing a little more solid that way, limiting quality chances. One chance I really didn't like was how easy Granlund got to the net around 4 minutes left in the period. The quick rush coverage is still a bit shaky for us. So hopefully we can tidy that up as well. That's probably one play that would definitely get brought up in the intermission by Tocchet, I would hope.
Lots of turnovers.
Lots of turnovers, and we need to get more shots on goal. I took down some stats here. Like Hughes is leading our team with shots on goal with 34 shots on net. Besser's second with 21. Miller comes in with 20. And there is 18 players in the league that are already over 40 shots on net. And 3 of them are defensemen. Austin Matthews and Carter Verhaeghe are over 50 shots on net. You want to know how Austin Matthews scores 50 goals? He shoots the puck.
Did you bleep yourself? That's impressive.
I did bleep myself because I'm not paying the swear jar. But honestly, it's ridiculous. Like it's crazy that our stars that are paid to score goals. I mean, you can't score unless you're shooting the puck on net. And with those stats, it's embarrassing. It just needs to change. Like, I don't care if they're good shots. Just get them on net, because you know how you score? It's on net. Pucks on net. We need more pucks on net, and they need to be from our scorers. That's what they're paid to do. And I see the chat yelling for the lotto line and begging for the lotto line. The lotto line is our first line power play. They are not scoring goals. What from that makes fans go, oh, 5-on-5, they'll be doing better? It just isn't something that works anymore. If we can't find chemistry with what we got now, putting the lotto line back together just makes the rest of our lineup weaker, especially down the middle. And it puts extra minutes on those guys, almost kind of double shifting. So it's a difficult situation. Maybe when Joshua comes back, that frees up a little more flexibility when it comes to our lineup. But right now, we don't really have somebody that's got the skill and talent to get bumped up into that top 6 that's going to be changing everything. So right now, we just kind of need to be patient, wait for Joshua to come back, wait for Demko to come back. Those things are happening soon. Joshua likely is playing on Tuesday. We have 3 days off, so he's likely going to play on Tuesday in Anaheim. Demko's probably coming back right before Christmas. I would expect Alvin to be making a trade here soon, because we can see what the holes are and what needs to change. So we just need to be a bit patient. The season is still young. There's still a long way to go. We are holding our own right now. Lankinen's holding us in these games. We just got to bide our time, and things will pick up. We're not going to stay goalless forever. So
something's got to give.
Anyways,
I
off
think
my soapbox.
The only up I can probably give to the Canucks for that period was they did a good job of preventing the Sharks from actually getting shots on net. And there was not necessarily, they didn't necessarily prevent them from getting a whole bunch of odd man rushes, but at the end of the day, the Sharks only ended up with 3 shots through that first intermission. And then the other up is sort of a down at the same time. If you look at it, the Canucks had given away the puck to the San Jose Sharks. I think it was like 11 times through the first 15 minutes of that game. In the last 5 minutes, they only gave it away once. Right?
Oh, there you go.
There's an improvement. So they adjusted something there. They also had 12 hits. So we're going to assume that 10 of those were from Sherwood, and 2 of them were from somebody else, right? Yeah, a little bit scrambly. I think it might take a little bit for people to get into it, but we'll see. I mean, it was a very fast moving period. What was it, like 7 faceoffs that whole period or something like that?
Yeah, that was probably one of the quicker ones we've had this year so far. So
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the lineup. You mentioned briefly Dakota Joshua is probably coming back pretty quick. So we did see Aman get waived for the purpose of being sent down to the AHL. Is that what you're thinking? They're getting ready to bring Dakota back onto the full-time roster?
Yeah, I think for cap purposes, he frees up the most cap space. Given the way that Baines is working his butt off, and Brandstrom, you can't really send Brandstrom down. He has to stay simply for the puck moving abilities. Beyond Hughes, we haven't really had anyone be able to move the puck or skate with the puck other than Brandstrom. So he's made himself basically invaluable to at this point. Aman, I'm not surprised, is the one who got sent down. Wasn't really noticeable in the 4 games he played. He only had 2 points. And I don't see any really risk of him being picked up. I think he clears waivers easily. So that's another thing with him being sent down. It's a good move by Alvin, I think, to have Joshua coming back here and let's see what that can bring.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Joshua is a literal big part of the team, right? He brings a lot to the forecheck. He brings a lot to hitting. He takes faceoffs, so he actually does really well when he has to come in and take the faceoffs when somebody gets tossed. Yeah. So I think we briefly talked about it. You're looking at probably him coming in on the 4th line, maybe taking out Sprong or something like that. Although Sprong has been playing pretty well lately. But yeah, I mean, Aman clears up that cap space. Maybe they can stop messing around with Baines, because every time he gets sent down, he loses thousands of dollars. So
I know it's so rough, eh?
You feel bad for the guy, but at the end of the day, I bet you anything, he is taking it like a champ. There's no way that man's complaining. He is just happy to be a part of this organization.
Exactly. And we've talked about before how every team has a quote unquote glue guy, and Joshua is 100% that guy for the Vancouver Canucks. You can feel it. You can feel the energy just waiting for him to come back. Everyone's excited. Everyone's anticipating it. And so I can't wait for him to get back in the lineup.
Agreed. So we're going to talk a little bit about former Canuck, who's actually, he was one of my favorite Canucks in the organization, even though he didn't spend much time here. Mr. Vasily Podkolzin got traded off to the Edmonton Oilers in the offseason. Essentially, the Canucks felt he was not going to be able to crack this roster. So they did. I mean, it is kind of strange, though. They did trade him to a division rival, so I found that interesting. He's doing pretty good over there.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, yes. His defensive numbers have been great in very limited ice time. Over the first few games, he was in a 4th line role. His defensive play, however, has earned him a shot further up the lineup with the injury to McDavid and a couple other injuries in their forward core. So now he's playing with Draisaitl. But the thing is, he's played 4 games on the wing with Draisaitl. He's only been able to generate 2 assists in those 4 games. And with no depth at winger, that's why he's there.
Right.
He had 0 points in the first 7 games of the season. He has 2 points in 11 games. So I wouldn't necessarily say that he's had a rebirth season or he's a big success yet. I think he's getting there. And boy, did he show some toughness that we didn't know he had. Who knew that was in his system there when he absolutely clocked Lausanne of the Nashville Predators right between the eyes with the right hand. So no one knew Podkolzin had that in him, I don't think, in the Canucks organization.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. His defensive numbers are great. When he's on the ice so far this season, his goals against average per 60 minutes is 1.64. So when he's on the ice, they're not getting scored on. When he's on the ice as well, their goals for is at 3.11 per 60 minutes. So not a crazy high number, but if you add everything together, he actually is coming in the top 20 for goals for percentage in the entire NHL right now. And it's interesting because I think he probably did the same thing while he was with the Canucks. Like, he was never a defensive liability, but it was always about him being able to actually put the puck in the net or setting up people putting in the puck in the net. So glad to see he's got a couple of assists, but should be interesting to see what he does moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Just digging into it more, right? Like like that stat you say he's top 20, but like when you dig into it, it's limited ice time, it's protected ice time. He's not killing penalties or doing certain things, so it's situations to succeed defensively.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, offensively would be great now that he's playing with Draisaitl. I mean, numbers just come naturally. So if he stays in that role, then maybe that'll give him an opportunity to discover his offensive side.
Yeah. The next one I wanted to chat with you about because I saw this Abby attendance. So we're going to talk more about the Abbotsford Canucks and their overall result from the last game. But I wanted to start off by talking about the attendance down there in Abbotsford because I thought when the Abbotsford Canucks became a thing, it would be close to a sellout on a week to week basis. But right now, the other night when they won 3-0, they actually they had under 2,000 people in the stadium that seats over 7,000, which was the worst attendance in the entire history of the Abbotsford Canucks. So what the heck is happening?
Yes. I think part of it is weekday games are just difficult to sell tickets for.
Mhm.
Especially when there's a lot of high quality hockey available in the Fraser Valley.
Mhm.
Um, Also, I think people are getting wise to the parking issues at that Abbey Center.
Yeah.
It is a pain in the butt. If that place sells out, I'll tell you what, you don't want to be driving or parking anywhere near it. So that I think is part of the issue as well is the location and just accessibility of the building.
Yeah.
Um, Also, a lot of our prospects are jumping back and forth between the big club and the small club right now. And so it's kind of one of those limbo seasons where they haven't really got on a roll yet. They've been winning one, losing one. They haven't really been pulling the interest of the public with any major scoring threats or goalies standing on their head. They're just kind of having a ho-hum start to the season. So it's not really a big draw currently. And yeah, like I went back over the numbers because I saw what you saw originally, the 1,947 for the first Tucson game. But then when I went back just and re-looked at the game center, it's now being reported that there was 2,896. So I don't know where the mystery 950 people came from, but I didn't see them in the crowd when I was watching the game online. It was quite empty in the building and quite quiet. So I think maybe scheduling, needing to schedule more around the weekends. I know it's tough, but they should probably put the priority on that and move the other one shot items that they have, like concerts and things, onto more weeknights. Just to try and generate more revenue for the Abbey Canucks, and obviously, if they do start going on a run, the attendance does see a climb. It has over the last couple of years when
Mhm.
they've gone on some long runs and been hot. So I think it's just a bit of a product of an oversaturation of good quality hockey. The weather, the distance, the difficulty in parking and kind of getting in and out of there. And yeah, I think it all just kind of boils down to kind of life is expensive now. So luxury things like going even to an AHL game are tough for some families.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I have heard too. It's like $30 for a ticket, whereas back in the day, you used to be able to get them for like $15. Like, so maybe that's something they need to look at, just lowering the cost of, because if you're only getting 2,000 people in the stadium anyways, you might as well charge less and see if you can get some more butts in the seats. Um,
Exactly, and, like, when the Abbey Heat were here, they did the Looney Toony Dog and Brew nights and
right.
stuff to try and get people out, and so,
Yeah.
stuff like that they gotta do more of.
Let's chat about the Abbotsford Canucks performance on the ice because, like you said, they win one, they lose one. So, like I said, they had just under 2,000 people for the 3-0 win. So they followed it up with what, Dustin?
They followed it up with a grand 5-2 loss. Unfortunately, I think the team was heavily focused on the redemption for the hit that Mark Friedman took the night
Mm-hmm.
before. Um, Dino Cambites and Onyebuchi had a long talk in warm up before the game started, and you could kind of see that the focus of the Canucks was not on the game right at puck drop.
Mm-hmm.
That was evident with Tucson scoring a goal 30 seconds into the game. Um, and it kind of delayed the fight and the retribution. And then they scored again after that. After we took a penalty, it was Tolopilo's worst start of the year. He looked really shaky. He was pulled after the first period, and so Patera came in after that. Cambites did eventually fight Onyebuchi just over 15 minutes into the game. But because it was a staged fight off a puck drop, they were both ejected from the game, which is one of the new rules in the AHL. So you can't have it has to happen organically, as they say.
Right.
You can't just be talking off the drop and drop them, because then you get the boot skis now. But Patera did come in and stop 9 of 10 shots after entering the game. The only goal he let past him was absolute beauty, just tucked right under the bar, short side. He didn't have much chance. Another positive in the game, I guess, was Lekaramaki with his second goal in as many games, so scoring in back-to-back games. So that's really good. And Max Sasson had the other Abbotsford goal in that game. So 2 little bright spots, but 5-2 loss. And they are now currently playing down in San Diego, and they are up 2 after 2. We had Otu Ratu finding John Stevens on a 2-on-1 for our first goal in the first period. And then in the second period, we had John Stevens finding Otu Ratu on a shorthanded to return the favor. So couple of big goals down there for us, and hopefully we can bring that win home and keep the trend going of win one, lose one.
Yeah, I mean, at least you come out 500. Yeah, well, let's make sure we update the score at the end of the game today with the Abbotsford Canucks playing down there. Two teams playing down in Cali, so hopefully they can pull out that win. Sounds like they're off to a good start, and hopefully we can see a little bit more structure to this game, the Canucks versus the Sharks. What are you thinking for the second period? Canucks come out flying?
Shots on goal. I don't care. Shots on net. Pucks on net. Pucks on net. Pucks on net.
Awesome, doesn't enjoy the game, and we'll chat with you after. All right.
Nothing is perfect.